Coming up on this episode of Falmouth in Focus, we learn about 3 great spots to visit this fall from the 300 Committee. Hear from the Falmouth Clippers football coach on their undefeated season. Get the local fishing report from Ryan Collins of My Fishing Cape Cod. And Troy takes a look at the scarecrows taking over Falmouth Village. All this and much more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello, and thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. We're excited to announce that today is our 25th episode, and we've been producing the show for a year now. We strive to make this program interesting and comprehensive. If you have an idea or comment about Falmouth in Focus, please reach out and send an email to liz@fctv.org or call 508-457-0800. We start this episode with a note about the upcoming election. For the first time, Massachusetts voters will be allowed to vote early for the November 8th election. Early voting permits citizens to cast ballots in person at a polling place prior to an election. The voter does not have to provide an excuse for being unable to vote on Election Day. Early voting in Falmouth will take place in the Old Water Department at Town Hall October 24th through November 4th. Details regarding times can be found on the town's website, falmouthmass.us. Stay tuned for a PSA later in the show regarding this from Town Clerk Michael Palmer. Drug Take-Back Day is coming up. The Falmouth Police Department will again take part in the National Prescription Take-Back Initiative. Residents are welcome to anonymously drop off any expired or unwanted prescription drugs in the lobby of the Falmouth Police Department on October 22nd between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. There has been an emergency closure by the Division of Marine Fisheries in town. Toxic plankton bloom has closed shellfishing in all Falmouth waters. This includes recreational and commercial shellfishing except for scallops. This order extends the closure of Buzzards Bay to the entire town. This order remains in effect until further notice. The Falmouth Clippers football team currently has an undefeated record of 6-0. As part of an effort to bring viewers more school athletics, FCTV now records a game of the week. FCTV staff and volunteers covered the Clippers' recent game against Scituate. Ryan Weber spoke to Coach Derek Almeida after the game.
Well, I think we came out the same way that we've been doing all year. We got a tough group of kids that just play varsity football the right way, and they're just so intense. But I love the way the kids came out. They prepare the right way during the week, so they're ready to go. And they're not really doing a lot of second guessing of themselves. They know their read, they know their position they're supposed to be in, they know the technique they're supposed to use, and they line up and they do it full speed and as aggressive as we need them to. So we have some weapons that we're trying to use. We use Trent Leachman and Gene Vasquez they're kind of a cross between a wide receiver and a slot and a back. We're doing different things with them because they can make plays. As much as Kuwig and Gates and Sammy and Mikey and Colby, those kids are all good running backs, and we got to get them the ball, but our receivers can make some plays too. So we're trying to get them some touches, and then that frees some other things up too.
In fact, Falmouth High School is going to keep its undefeated varsity football streak.
Congrats to the Clippers on their win. It's time now for 3 Things from Town Hall, FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
Cape Cod Commission Executive Director Paul Niedzwiecki and new Barnstable County Administrator Jack Unitz Jr. gave a report to the selectmen and spoke about its efforts with wastewater initiatives on Cape Cod and working with municipalities in the near future on the regional policy plan.
I just am here to say that for the most part, we spent a lot of last year working on wastewater-related issues, so we've finished that 1-year implementation report and watershed reports back to DEP. We'll be working with them more closely over the next couple of months. And so all of that information is back with the towns too, so we look forward to working with you to continue the effort to move forward to solving this huge environmental and economic problem.
We are probably, on Cape Cod, the best asset the Commonwealth has in terms of net revenue gained from our tourist industry that goes back into Boston. And it's about time that we start pounding the table and saying, we need you to help us with our water issues.
Many were in attendance Monday night for the Selectmen's discussion surrounding the future location of the Senior Center. The selectmen voted unanimously to reconsider the site in which the future senior center will be located. After much public comment and discussion from the selectmen, a vote to bring forth architectural plans for the senior center location at the Gust Canty Recreation Center was decided.
Sandra Cuney, Chairman of the Falmouth Recreation Committee. Upon hearing that the Board of Selectmen was going to reconsider the vote, members of the Recreation Committee called and asked that I put it on the agenda at our last meeting. So for the first time, we actually had a discussion amongst the Recreation Committee, and I am here tonight to tell you that all 7 members attended, and it was unanimous by the committee that they are in support of, if you decide that the Recreation Falmouth Community Center is the spot, that we would welcome an addition for the seniors. And so I'm just here to relay that message on behalf of the committee.
I make a motion to choose the Gust Canty as the site for the senior center.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The ayes have it.
On Monday night, the selectmen also set the stages for this fall's town meeting by voting the necessary recommendations to the articles for the upcoming warrant.
And so the idea is tonight to vote the recommendations, and then Mr. Suso and I would work on the wording with whatever advice you give us tonight. Otherwise, we would move forward on just coming up with explanations as to why the recommendation is.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out FCTV's website and click on the Government Channel 15 link at fctv.org. Once a month, we get to feature a local fishing report from Ryan Collins of My Fishing Cape Cod. Here's his take on what's biting in the area.
Hello again, this is Ryan from MyFishingCapeCod.com, and the fall run is definitely underway. And we're actually approaching the end of the saltwater season here on Cape Cod, but there are certainly big fish still around. For me personally, I have been fishing the surf. And the bass the past several trips have been on the smaller side, but before that I was consistently getting fish that were 25 pounds and up from the beach. Even in those big winds and waves. Fortunately, right now the weather seems to be a little bit more cooperative. But October is just an incredible time to be fishing all over Cape Cod, especially in the Falmouth area. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment.
That's a nice fish.
Now, not only are there still plenty of big stripers around, but there are big bluefish moving south through the canal into Buzzards Bay, down around the Elizabeth Islands and Martha's Vineyard. And some of these bluefish have been upwards of 15 pounds.
Jeez.
There are also still plenty of albies, and just today a friend of mine told me he got into the albies real thick down along the Elizabeth. I've also been doing some fly fishing, and I'm really happy to report very strong numbers of small fish roaming the coastline.
My goodness.
Now, this has been true whether I've been fishing down on the lower Cape or some of the beaches in Buzzards Bay. There's been a real good number of schoolie stripers around, which bodes very well for the future. Now, in particular, to the Falmouth area, when I've been surf casting down in Falmouth, I have been targeting rock ledges, boulder fields, and weed beds, and I've been finding stripers just like this one in those areas. Now, another tip, especially true for Falmouth, is to find places where the current is moving through weed beds, boulder fields, and rocky points. If you add those two variables together, it's just a matter of time until the bass show up. Now, it's not all surf casting right now. There is plenty of boat fishing available, and the Elizabeth Islands often shine during the fall. And it's one of the last places in the region to find a really big fish. You could toss eels like we're doing right here, or cast plugs into the rocks.
Wow. Another beautiful.
If you're looking for a big fish this October, I would head to the Elizabeth Islands.
Thank you to Ryan for that great information. We're going to take a quick break to learn more about the early voting options for the election in town. When we come back, we'll hear about 3 recommended places to visit this fall from the 300 Committee and visit a local artist with an international following. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Town Clerk Michael Palmer. Welcome to Town Hall. For the first time this November, voters will be allowed to vote early in the November 8th presidential election. What that means is the voter will be able to come and cast a ballot without having a reason for not being allowed to appear on election day. From October 24th to November 4th, voters will be able to vote in the Old Water Department Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Wednesday and Thursday night till 8, and Saturday 8 to 4.
Hi, early voting is in the Old Water Department. Take a left and it will be the last door on your right.
Hi, come on in for early voting. We'll be starting October 24th and running through November 4th. We'll be here from 8 in the morning to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
We will also be here Wednesday and Thursday until 8 p.m. and again October 29th, Saturday from 8 to 4.
Early voting, last door on the right.
Early voting, right here in the Old Water Department.
Early voting, it's easy. Please vote.
There is absolutely no reason not to vote.
Early or on election day, just vote.
Your vote is your voice. Will your voice be heard? You can early vote from October 24th to November 4th.
Welcome back. In this next piece, 300 Committee Administrator Jessica Rittenauer shares with us 3 great conservation spots to visit this fall in Falmouth.
The 300 Committee is a nonprofit organization of people that's been working since 1985 to preserve quality open space in Falmouth for people and for wildlife. Today I'm going to share with you about 3 different conservation areas in Falmouth that we think are just wonderful for a fall visit. The first location is Sea Farms, which is over in East Falmouth. This is a property that is owned by the town, and it was in the early days of the 300 Committee in the mid-'80s was one of the purchases that the town made, and they've been able to add to it over time. So now it's up to 87 acres. Beautiful marsh view, so we recommend it in the fall time especially because it's a great opportunity for birding, folks who want to see migrating birds. We have a couple of benches. One is overlooking Israel's Cove, the other is overlooking Black Duck Cove, and wonderful birding opportunities, blue heron, osprey, marsh hawks, and a variety of ducks. There is a trail there that's just over a mile long. And also the property provides public access to Bourne Pond. A lot of folks like to use that for fishing and other recreation, kayaking as well. So take a visit over to Sea Farms. It's off of Davisville Road, off of Gale Avenue, and you'll be glad you went. The second property that we're featuring this fall for a visit is the Breivogel Conservation Area. Off of Blacksmith Shop Road near the leaf compost facility, there's a parking area. This property is owned by the town, and the 300 Committee provided assistance when the town bought this land. It's 67 acres. It was an old gravel mining pit, so a lot of restoration work is going on right now to create habitat. We're working with the town on a vernal pool creation project and also a sandplain grassland restoration. The former owner actually put in 2 ponds, 2 small freshwater ponds, before he sold the land. So a visit to this property, we're actually doing a special walk series starting this fall that goes into the early winter. It's on Wednesdays. Please check the 300 Committee website for the schedule. But this walk series, the goal is to visit the property and to watch the changes over time in the vegetation and to really learn about the different habitats and what makes this property unique and special. So it's a fun walk series that we hope folks will be able to take advantage of. This property does include a trail system. There's a nice wooded section in the back that connects in with the Shallow Pond Woodlands property that the 300 Committee is planning to purchase in March. So a visit to Brivogel in the ponds that are there, a great spot for watching ducks. Hawks are often seen flying over the open area of the property, and the trails that are there lead to the shoreline of Shallow Pond, which is just a lovely, quiet view. Third area that we'd like to feature involves the town's cranberry bogs along the Coonamessett River. A lot of work over many years has gone into land purchases on both sides of the river to protect that really important habitat and to preserve the land for the cranberry bogs. There are access roads that circle the bogs that are really popular and wonderful for walking any time of year. We especially love the cranberry bog area in the fall because of the great color and the harvest time. There are a couple of events that the 300 Committee is planning this year. We have a cranberry picking expedition that we've been doing for the past few years, and the details on that will be forthcoming on our website. That's an early November event. And also this year in our guided bird walk series, we're going to be featuring the bogs off of John Parker Road, led by our birding enthusiast and naturalist Molly Cornell. So that will be happening in mid-December, so mark your calendar for that. And I think you'll enjoy just some beautiful, colorful views of Falmouth and a really special location, as the Coonamessett River is really the heart of a lot of our land preservation work to protect that important part of town. Falmouth's conservation lands are truly diverse in the sense that they provide a wide variety of recreational opportunities. They preserve really important habitat. They're important environmentally in terms of protecting drinking water and coastal water quality. We really hope that you'll get out and enjoy some of these wonderful, wonderful areas in Falmouth that have been preserved, and we look forward to seeing you out on the trail.
Thank you to Allison Leshin and Rich Signell for contributing their great footage of the Brivogel Conservation Area to the piece. Back in September, the Open Doorway Run for Recovery relay race was held in towns across the Cape. Alex Corey had a chance to speak with some of the individuals involved.
We started the organization, which is a nonprofit 501c3, because my brother Josiah Taney died of a heroin overdose December of 2014, and we didn't want his death to be in vain. So we started the organization to help people, and I said if we can help one person, we'll have done a good job, and we've helped over 140 people.
I lost my son, Corey Gilmartin, here in the town of Falmouth in January of 2014 from fentanyl poisoning overdose, and was looking for some group to work with that was really actively doing something rather than just talking about it, which I found to be a big problem in a lot of communities. So very happy to be working with the Open Doorway of Cape Cod, and we are the host of this Cape Cod Purple Flag Relay event, which is in its second year. We took it over from Chris Santos of Mashpee last year, who ran the race. And this is a 2-day race that's going to go from Bourne all the way down to Provincetown, where we're passing these purple flags indicating addiction and recovery, because this is National Recovery Month. And President Obama has signed a proclamation making this Awareness Week. And so this is our activity to raise awareness about this problem it's really an epidemic that's destroying our Cape Cod communities as well as the entire nation.
Everybody's with the stigma, ashamed to say they know somebody who's an addict or know somebody with a problem with substance abuse or have had somebody die. And everybody kind of looks the other way if there's an event or doesn't get involved, maybe because they're afraid to speak up. But it's really important that you do. It's really important that you get involved, because this is affecting everyone. I mean, it's hard to talk to anybody who doesn't know at least somebody, that has died from this. So come, bring your kids, get involved, because the only way to help is to prevent and to help, with a life of recovery.
Thank you to Alex for that piece. Salley Mavor is a Falmouth artist whose needle art and books have fans around the world. Salley recently sat down with us to discuss her work in her home studio in Sipawissat.
I do essentially what I've been doing my whole life. People ask, they say, when did you start doing this? What inspired you? And I have no real conscious memory of it starting because it's always been there. I make little things and make worlds, basically. And that can translate into illustrations for a children's book, or standalone pieces of art, or outside making a fairy house. It's constructing things, and they usually are of a miniature nature.
They often have lots of needlework and hand stitching with the tiniest of detail. Salley has accumulated quite the following. Her figures sell out within a day on Etsy, and the community she's created online on her blog and social media accounts is quite active.
I've explored ideas of human connections and fashion and the passage of time and more topical issues. My latest piece is called Displaced, and it's about refugees inspired by current world events, but it could very well be about the plight of refugees forever throughout time.
She typically keeps her themes universal and likes the idea of bringing in other cultures.
It's, even though I try not to kind of narrowly define what I do in the fiber art world, because I don't really feel like I'm part of the fiber art world. I don't even know where I feel like I'm part of. And I don't even feel like I'm part of the art world, because it's so fraught with ideas about technique and what is art and what is craft. And since I'm working with needlework, that in itself is just a totally sort of it's in the category of women's work, and it's not really respected as art, I think. So I try not to get myself categorized into these narrow places. I try to keep it open and say, I just make art.
Salley's had her work shown all around the country, and there's a good chance you saw some of her work at Highfield Hall's Fairy House exhibit, which she curated in 2013 and 2015.
Yes, I think there's nothing like it. I get such satisfaction out of it. And I feel like it's sort of like I am in control of making a world. And it's not, and maybe it's the control thing is the important thing, I don't know what. Or it's a vision. It's like this thing in my head that I see that I'm trying to translate into something that I can share. I like to do that. I like to show people what I'm thinking, how the relationships I see, because I think art is about connections between ideas, and the way you put it all together is really what makes art.
If you'd like to see Salley's unique art in person, her work is on display at the Bristol Art Museum in Bristol, Rhode Island until October 30th. We're going to take a quick break to hear from FCTV's youth producers' ideas on free speech in honor of Free Speech Week, which takes place from October 17th through the 23rd.
Freedom of speech and expression can go beyond words. For me, I can express myself through riding my skateboard, a form of expression through just riding around on a piece of wood with some wheels.
Here at FCTV, we express ourselves through the videos we create.
Welcome back. This episode, Troy takes a stroll around Falmouth Village to scope out the scarecrows that make an appearance around this time every year.
Thanks, Liz. I'm here with my friend, the Smiling Pie from Pies a la Mode here on Main Street. We're in Falmouth Village, and you know, so much of what we see today on TV is name-calling and negativity, so we thought for this edition of Troy's Take, we'd just have a little fun. So we're here in Falmouth Village in this wonderful scarecrow contest sponsored by the Falmouth Village Association. So we're going to just show you some of these very creative and very fun and enjoyable scarecrows that are on this almost 1 mile stretch of Main Street here in Falmouth Village. We'll pick out our favorites and maybe you can find one too. I'm not sure what the title of this scarecrow is, but I'm going to call it Purple Passion. It's right outside of Gelfie's Candy and Ice Cream here in the downtown village. It makes me want to go in and have some black raspberry chip. Well, this one is certainly the most instructive scarecrow here on Main Street, warning drivers and walkers and joggers alike not to text and drive. And as you can see, the results can be disastrous. So we had to stop by here at Soft as a Grape for this commemorative scarecrow that honors the undefeated Falmouth High School Clippers in their 2016 football season. The community is excited about it, and the folks here at Soft as a Grape wanted to capture that school spirit. So I've walked by Anejo here and these wonderful tables outside probably 1,000 times, and so many times I've wanted to stop and grab a chip and chat with the people who are sitting here, and I finally had the opportunity to do that. I made a new friend here. This is Steve Stupp from the Chicago area, and he's here in Falmouth and the Boston area photographing foliage and the wonderful natural beauty here in New England. So it's great to visit with you here, Steve. Welcome to Falmouth.
Thank you very much.
So how often do you go and photograph cities and towns across the United States that have dozens of scarecrows on their main street?
This is the first.
So this contest is not just about fall-themed events, it's about who we are here in Falmouth and here in Massachusetts. This is one of 2 Big Poppy honorary scarecrows here in Falmouth Village. I love this one. We'll see the other one in a minute, but it just goes to show you that this scarecrow contest just captures the essence, the feeling, the theme of fall here in Falmouth. Alors, je dois arrêter à la boulangerie française et parler avec mes amis français, juste ici à Falmouth. Of course, in my broken French, that means I must stop at the French bakery and speak with my French friends here at the French bakery. It's Maison Villard, and they have certainly the most creative, the most elaborate of all the scarecrows, and it really captures the essence of this wonderful French bakery we have here in the Falmouth Village. They even have a warning sign down here. As you can see, it says, Entrez à vos risques et périls, ne touchez rien, et rien ne vous touchera. What that means is, enter at your own risk and peril, and pretty much if you don't touch anything, nothing will touch you. But I gotta tell you, this scarecrow contest, and this one in particular, it touches us all, our imaginations, our fancy, and this one kind of made me hungry. I think we're gonna go inside and get a croissant. And we'll close out here with my personal favorite, the Minions, here in front of Cupcake Charlie's. You know, we've seen some phenomenal scarecrows here today, some fun, some educational, and some that just evoke memories of some of our favorite movies or favorite sports stars. You see, there are thousands, maybe there's millions of main streets from sea to shining sea in this great country, but none quite like this one here in Falmouth. Not just because of its natural beauty, not just because of the independent businesses that make the economy tick, but because of the people behind those businesses, the people that care enough to take the time to make this fun, to make it something different, to make Falmouth distinctive. And that's what makes it so special. I'm Falmouth Enterprise columnist Troy Clarkson, and that's my scarecrow take. Back to you, Liz.
Thank you, Troy. We're always thrilled to see residents use their smartphones to record images around town, just like Troy did, and we want your input too. Become a part of Falmouth in Focus and send us your photos and videos to liz@fctv.org or use the hashtag MyFalmouth and Falmouth in Focus to be featured in the show. This episode, I'm excited to share a personal hashtag MyFalmouth. My husband recently returned home from a 6-month deployment with the Navy. He surprised our children who didn't know he arrived on base in Newport, Rhode Island.
Do you see anybody here? Do you see anybody here?
Daddy! Daddy.
Is this a nice surprise?
We're going to end this episode like we always do with the sights and sounds from around town. This time we'll take a look at Bourne Farm Pumpkin Day. Thank you to Alex Corey for the footage, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.